What's up and welcome to another episode of Gizmo Slip Tech. Today we're looking at the iPhone XR versus the LG V40 versus the OnePlus 6T speed test. We're going to be doing a mixture of startup, daily use apps, and gaming apps, as well as doing some benchmarks with Geekbench 4. If you're someone that loves smartphone and laptop tech videos, be sure to go down there and hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and slam that like button. Let's go ahead and get into this speed test. Here we go. Let's go ahead and get this speed test started by turning all of these guys off. And we'll do a power on speed test. 3, 2, 1. The V40 is actually up first, then the XR, then the OnePlus 6T. Okay, so no apps are in storage right now. In 3, 2, 1. V40 was actually first. All right, loading Instagram in 3, 2, 1. In 3, 2, 1. Boom. And we're gonna do Spotify in 3, 2, 1. OnePlus 6T, XR, then the LG V40. Here's MyFitnessPal in 3, 2, 1. Much faster on Android than iOS. Okay, now we get to the games in 3, 2, 1. Okay, the iPhone XR wins first. Let's see who wins on the Android side. Looks like the OnePlus 6T takes it by a few seconds. Now, all three of these are in the same party. We're going to go ahead and just ready them up so they all get in at the same time. Let's see which one's faster loading into the match. So the XR was first, then the OnePlus 6T, then the LG V40. We're going to go ahead and load it into PUBG Mobile in 3, 2, 1. Yep, we clicked it. The XR is loaded in first, quite clearly. Then the OnePlus 6T, then the LG V40. We're going to go ahead and load into a match. We're going to see how long it takes from the moment it finds a match to actually loading in. They actually all went in about the same time. Pretty close, at least. Very close. Now we're going to go ahead and load into Minecraft. Both Android devices loaded in quicker to get into the menu, at least. We're going to go ahead and hit play. And we're going to load into the same basic default world in 3, 2, 1. Almost all tied there. That was really, really close. Okay, time to load into Vainglory in 3, 2, 1. Slightly quicker on the Android devices. Now we're going to go ahead and load into a 5-on-5 tutorial mode. See how long it takes to load in. Okay, we're going to load in 3, 2, 1. XR first, V40 second. OnePlus 6T is actually third this time. All right, we'll go ahead and load into Shadowgun Legends in 3, 2, 1. .6T is first, V40 is second, XR is third. Okay, let's go ahead and run Geekbench and see our scores. All right, running the CPU benchmark in 3, 2, 1. We got a single core score of 4790 with a multi-core score of 11,440. That is about average for a phone with the A12 Bionic chip. Okay, so you can see that the single core for the OnePlus 6T is 2369 and the multi is 8473. Multi-core 8100 and 2324. The lowest score here on the V40. So in terms of raw performance, the XR is definitely be a lot better if you're going to render some video. And depending on the game, you might get a little bit better overall performance in the actual frames per second because of the higher end processor. But that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the graphics benchmark. for these three phones. Here we go with the graphics benchmark. Boom, boom, boom. So you can see the XR definitely has a big advantage in both the raw CPU performance as well as the raw GPU performance, but how it actually handles in terms of opening apps, these numbers don't really reflect because Android is optimized differently than iOS. All right, let's go ahead and see which of these devices still have things in memory. We'll start at the top. All three still have YouTube in memory. Instagram. All three have Instagram. OnePlus 6T had to reload Twitter. Take a look at Spotify. Looks like Spotify had to reopen on the OnePlus 6T, but it stayed open on both the V40 and the XR. MyFitnessPal had to reopen on the Android devices, but it stayed open on iOS. Even though it took longer to initially load on iOS, it still stayed open better than the other two devices. So Fortnite. Looks like Fortnite had to reopen on the OnePlus 6T and iPhone XR, but managed to stay open on the LG V40. PUBG Mobile stayed open on the Android devices, but not the XR. Minecraft needs to be reopened on all three. Vainglory needs to be reopened on all three as well. It's interesting that most of these games need to be reopened. Looks like the XR and the V40 both kept Shadowgun Legends open. The OnePlus 6T once again needs to reopen it. This might be how the OnePlus 6T is so quick in opening apps, because it just shuts down apps in the background quicker than other phones. Geekbench once again stayed open on the V40 and the XR, but not the OnePlus 6T. So that is really interesting. Okay, it's time to take a look at the results. Here we go. First up, we have boot up time. The LG V40 actually dominated this test at 16.6 seconds, with the XR coming in second and the OnePlus 6T coming in last. Next up, we have the OnePlus 6T, of course, winning the daily use apps. This is what we would expect from the OnePlus 6T. It is super optimized and super quick. The LG V40 came in second at 8.2 seconds, and the iPhone XR came in last at 13.5 seconds. When it came to loading games, the iPhone XR was the quickest of these three, as you'd expect with that A12 Bionic chip. The OnePlus 6T barely ekes out a second place, with the LG V40 taking third. Last but not least, we have the total load time for our entire speed test coming in at 2 minutes and 55 seconds. We have our winner, the iPhone XR. Second place, we have the OnePlus 6T with 3 minutes and 16 seconds. And last but not least, we have the LG V40 coming in barely at third. Now, something else to keep in mind is that while all three phones tended to keep most of the apps open in the background, the OnePlus 6T, on the other hand, shut down apps more aggressively, which might result in additional loading times if you have to completely reopen the app again from scratch. Overall, if you're a big daily app user, then you're going to find the best performance in the OnePlus 6T. But if you love playing games, the iPhone XR will be the quickest one to open and close apps. Honestly, I wasn't expecting the LG V40 to perform as well as it did. It was only 2.5 seconds behind the OnePlus 6T, which I think is just fantastic because the OnePlus 6T is obviously very optimized as well. And that's it for this speed test between these three phones. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you guys in the next one. Brandon, out.